Hello everyone, welcome back to That's Football. We've got a big one for you this weekend. It will be Liverpool versus Man City. Can't wait for the watch along on Sunday at 4:30. But we've got a combined 11 for you. And I tell you what, this combined 11 is not going to be, let's throw a few Liverpool players in just because we think they're the Liverpool of last season. We're looking at form, we're looking at injury, we're looking at the now in this combined 11. And I think it's realistic, so realistic that I think even Liverpool fans and City fans would go, there is an element of fairness there. We'll also be looking at the Premier League fixtures as well. Lots to get involved with, of course. But we are sponsored by OneFootball. They are on the show next to me there. You can scan the QR code and download the app for free because we've got some huge news from OneFootball. Do you like free football? Well, you can get it on OneFootball. Of course you do. OneFootball is letting you watch one free Italian Serie A league game directly on your phone or internet, Apple TV, every week, totally for free, if you live in the UK or Ireland. However, if that was not enough, you can even get highlights for every Italian Serie A game so you can enjoy the best of Italian football has to offer every day on the OneFootball app. So as well as being the best place for football news, transfer rumours, stats and matchday scores, OneFootball has just upped the game again. Honestly, you don't need any other football app to make sure you are up to date with all the football around the planet. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code next to me and download OneFootball today, totally for free. Big shout out to OneFootball for supporting the channel, and don't forget to download it for free. You can be watching Italian football and all the highlights on there, as well as all your stats for everything else. Big thanks to OneFootball. Okay, let's talk about OneFootball game, which is Liverpool entertaining Man City this weekend. 13 points separate these two teams. I'm massively looking forward to this game. It's not even the points gap. That doesn't matter to me. This is at Anfield. This is the two best teams England have had to offer over the last 5 years. And is it the end of Liverpool? I think for football, they've got to win on Sunday. And I wouldn't normally say that as a United fan, but this is one of those games where you think Man City can't win. They probably will win, but you think they can't win because it's at Anfield. Liverpool are a good side, but they're really underdogs in this game. We know they've got their injury problems. We'll talk about the result of the game, but let's talk about a combined 11 because this is what we're here for. Combined 11 right here, right now. Liverpool, Man City, who makes a combined 11? And I'm talking form and I'm talking injury. So people like Diaz, who's out for a long time, he can't be in. Kyle Walker can't be in, people like that. So let's go. Goalkeeper for me, Alisson. I've always preferred Alisson over Ederson. Both fantastic goalkeepers. I just think you get more with Alisson. I just think he's a better shot stopper and brilliant with the feet. Ederson's very, very good, but I just prefer Alisson for me. So that's 1 to Liverpool there. Right back, I can't make a case here. Even with Kyle Walker injured, and I'm not moving Cancelo from left back, so bit of a spoiler there, but no, and I can't play. I like Trent going forward. You know, I think he's a world-class player going forward, but defensively this season, liability. So I would probably, I'm not going to put Kyle Walker there because he's injured. I mean, take your pick. You could put Akanji there. Yeah, I think I would put Akanji there. That's what I would do. I'd put Akanji at right back. I think that it's not ideal, but Liverpool, Arsenal have done it with Ben White. Akanji has done it under Pep. I'll put Akanji at right back. Yeah, 100%. Centre backs, look, Diaz has to be in there. I think he's well worthy of being probably the best centre back out of everybody on form and reputation. Probably with Van Dijk. So I think the obvious answer is to go with Diaz and Van Dijk. Stones, I don't think is fit at the moment. Laporte is in out of the team. Matip I like, but isn't playing particularly well. Akanji's at right back. I wouldn't go with Aki over Van Dijk. So, look, I don't think Van Dijk's having the best season, but I probably would. I think it would be stubbornness to not put Van Dijk in there just because he's not playing particularly well and play Diaz and Laporte or Diaz and Aki because I've got Akanji at right back. So I'll go Diaz and Van Dijk there, and obviously my back four is made up with Cancelo at left back. So we've got, out of our back five, we've got the Liverpool goalkeeper and a Liverpool centre-back. So it's 2-3 to Man City. But it doesn't get much better for Liverpool in the midfield. Fabinho is a player I would normally want to compete with Rodri. He can't this season. Neither can I nearly said Dean Henderson, Jordan Henderson. So yeah, it's got to be Rodri. Rodri's holding my midfield. There's no debate. It's simple. And I'm playing a midfield three. Look, I think Thiago's very good, but he's suffering from the same thing that Liverpool are. They're just not as good as they can be. It's just not working. And it is working for Man City. So the argument is what midfield three you go with from Man City. Do you go Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne? or do you go Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne? And I actually think take your pick. It doesn't really matter because the left-sided winger is going to be a Man City player anyway. So if I go Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Rodri, it's Foden or Bernardo Silva off the left. If I go Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, and Rodri, it will be Foden off the left. So there's no Liverpool differential. Unfortunately for Liverpool, there isn't. I can't get Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, Jota in because I don't think they're playing well as those Man City players that I've mentioned there. And obviously Diaz is injured at the moment. So yeah, I'll just make a choice and I will go with Rodri, Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne as my midfield three, and I'll put Foden off the left. Obviously up front, I do think Nunez will come good, but it wouldn't matter if they had Lewandowski, God's foster son up front. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be Erling Haaland. There's just no debate. Move on. It's Erling Haaland up front. And then on the right, I would put Mo Salah there. I think form is temporary, class is permanent, and not because he scored a hat-trick against Rangers. I still think Mo Salah is one of the best players in the world, and he would get into that team for me. So there we go. So my combined Liverpool versus Man City 11, a little bit quicker than I thought it should be, but I think it's an indication of how far ahead Man City are from Liverpool at the moment and how Liverpool are struggling. And Liverpool can come back. They've got the players. They've got some players missing. They've got people who've lost form. But Alisson, Akanji, Diaz, Van Dijk, Cancelo as my back five. The midfield Man City trio of Rodri, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne. And then I would go Foden off the left, Haaland down the middle and Salah off the right. So effectively, there are only three Liverpool players in a combined 11, which is as surprising as it is justified. I can't... If Liverpool playing well, and those players were playing like they played last season, you'd probably end up with a 5-6 one way or the other. But at the moment, three Liverpool players into that combined 11. And I think Alisson and Salah walk in. Van Dijk should walk in, but some people might argue with that. But I can't make a case for anybody else. I mean, I really can't. I mean, Trent should be the right back, but on current form, you'd go with a centre-back at right back in Akanji. And Thiago could force himself into that midfield if he was playing really, really well, which he's not. And I think Diaz would probably get on the left for me if he'd been fit. He's had a good season, but three Liverpool players and eight City players. So there you go. But as I said, I probably would put Diaz in if he'd have been fit. So it would have made it 4-7, but it's still domination from Man City. And I've got to say, leading into the game, get your comments in below on the combined 11. You might agree with me, you might not. That's the whole point. Make sure you subscribe and smash a like. Talking about the game itself and the rest of the Premier League games this weekend, I feel that I think City are going to win. I do. I just think Liverpool are lost at the moment. I don't think they have the cohesion or the confidence to pull off this result, which is surprising at Anfield. But I think Man City are just such a well-oiled machine at the moment. Liverpool's weak area is their defence. Man City have got Erling Haaland up front. I think it could be a lesson for. I think this could be a footballing lesson. I think this could be a pivotal moment. I don't think it's the end of Klopp at Liverpool, but I don't think it's the end of the bad run. And I think this could be a very. I mean, I don't know whether they'll get stuffed, but I do think it's going to be comfortable for City. I can see them going there and just controlling the game and scoring early and winning, 2-0 or 3-1 or something like that. I mean, I'd like Liverpool to at least get a point just to make it interesting in the title race and for everybody else, but. I just don't. I'd fancy Arsenal to beat Liverpool at the moment, which they just did, but I'd fancy them to beat them at Anfield as well. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Liverpool, and I fancy Man City to win it. Like I say, 2-0 or 3-1 to Manchester City. So what are your thoughts on that? Lots of other games this weekend that we're going to whiz through as well, though. Let me just go through them. So there is a Friday night game, Brentford against Brighton. It's a very pivotal game for Brighton, that. Brentford got smashed last week up at Newcastle. Brighton lost to Spurs, so both teams coming off a loss. But what are Brighton going to be without Potter? If this was Potter, I'd expect them to win. But they did lose at Fulham, even with Potter. So I think it's a dangerous game for Brighton. I'm probably going to go with a home win for Brentford on that one, 2-1. Tomorrow lunchtime, it's Leicester against Palace. Massive game for Leicester. They've got to win that. But Palace are a good side. I can see that being a draw, 1-1. Fulham play Bournemouth at 3 o'clock. Again, both teams really doing well, better than people thought. But that's a massive game. If one of those teams can win that, especially Bournemouth, can win there at Craven Cottage, God, their chances of staying up are expanded again. So, again, I think it's too big a game for either to lose, so I'll probably go with the draw there as well. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Forest at 3 o'clock, another big game. Both teams back down there at the bottom. Wolves are struggling, Forest are struggling. I can see it being a draw as well. And then Tottenham Everton at 5:30, that'll be a tight game. Everton are bouncing defensively quite good. Obviously lost to United. Spurs don't score many goals. I can see Spurs grinding that out. I can see it being 1 or 2-0 to Spurs, to be honest with you. And then on to Super Sunday, because there's so many games with so many big teams playing. Villa host Chelsea at Villa Park. Don't see Villa getting anything there. 1-0 to Chelsea. Leeds host Arsenal. Leeds have fell off a lot recently. Arsenal looking confident. I can see Arsenal winning that 3-1. Man United against Newcastle. Newcastle doing really well at the moment. United need the win. I'll go 2-0 Man United at home. Southampton against West Ham. Always a difficult game to predict. West Ham are doing a lot better. Southampton are on the ropes a bit. I actually think Southampton might get a result. I'm going to go 2-1 to Southampton. Liverpool, Man City, we've spoken about. And then that's it for the weekend. But we do have midweek fixtures to keep an eye on as well. There's bounce back ability. Unfortunately, Arsenal were meant to be playing Man City, but that's been postponed. So Man City will have a game off. But Liverpool have another home game against West Ham. United have another home game against Spurs. Chelsea go to Brentford. So it's a big week in the Premier League, but nothing is bigger than Liverpool against Manchester City. Looking forward to it. We're doing a watch along for that on Sunday afternoon at 4:30. So join me for that. Big weekend of football. I'll be on Talk Sport as well tomorrow night, radio, on YouTube as well, from 7:30 till 9 o'clock, talking about all the weekend action. So make sure you tune in for that. Maybe you want to call in for that as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to download OneFootball. It's free to do it. Get all your football stats and your Italian football on there as well for free. Link to the description. Download it for free. Thanks to OneFootball. Thanks to you. Get your comments in, combined 11 and thoughts on the weekend ahead. Let's see what happens. Smash a like. I'll speak to you all in a bit.